What's it been? Weeks. It's been weeks since actually 1 week or so since we got together. I don't know how long it's been, but anyway, welcome to Mike the Baptist. We're back with the preachers, another edition of the Three Preachers, and great talks. I just got to tell y'all, I really enjoyed the talks we've been having here. They're good for me, and in many different ways. So, okay, I can tell y'all are really excited today, as I am. We're back with Neil Andrews.
Hey. Oh, wake me up.
Yes. You're here too.
Yeah,
So
I am.
anyway, I'm glad you're back.
I'm filling in.
Kuntz.
Jackson.
Michael Kuntz is back in the building again, and good to know that you keep coming.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here.
You will let us all know when you unpack the suitcase.
I will let you know. We're actually packing a couple suitcases, so who knows? You
Well,
know, we might need
okay.
more therapy.
All right. That means, okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to ask any questions about where you're going or what you're doing, but, oh, yeah, I did. I think I talked to Kunzi, which is my new nickname for your wife, and we need to get that going, by the way.
Kuntz and Kunzi?
Yeah, I need a little help. Kunzi.
Sounds like a law firm.
Well,
That's what I said the
I'm
other
thinking it could
morning.
be like a sitcom. Kuntz and Kunzi.
It could be a sitcom about lawyers. Okay.
Morgan and Morgan. There's only one. That's a lie right in the name.
That's two.
There's at least two.
Well, yes,
Somebody's
but it's
marketing
attorneys.
firm.
It's attorneys.
There's only one. Gosh.
Oh, no, wait. Attorneys are fine people, too.
What are you trying to say?
No, attorneys are fine people. Where were we?
Kuntz and Kunzi.
Kuntz and Kunzi. Kunzi had told me earlier last week, I had asked about when the ladies, y'all's ladies, would be available for another Mike the Baptist with the Preacher's Wives series, and she immediately said, well, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, you know.
'Cause we're going somewhere again. So,
Yeah, you're
okay.
seeing the real side of Kunzi.
Yeah. And then I asked HD's wife, and she said, well, I've got this. I said, well, look, okay, you all pick a date and then tell me, because I don't have anything to do most of the time. So I'll be ready.
Did they pick a date yet?
No.
Okay.
No, but I did kind of try to pin them down to sometime next month, which, let's see, this is going to air September 17th. So actually today's is September 17th. So sometime in October, first part of October, they'll be here. Anyway, HD Jones is also with us.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well. And perhaps the rest of the program won't be as confusing as the first part of it. And I'm confused, just in full disclosure, I'm confused because everything is kind of lining up for me today better than it usually does. It's usually pretty chaotic inside and outside of my head. And today, basically been pretty good so far.
Get ready.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're shaking your head like, so far. But no, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens.
It was about this time yesterday when things went off the rails. So,
And
you know,
happens sometimes.
the day's still young.
Yeah.
Well, there's something about this time of day because early in the history of Mike the Baptist, we recorded the first few episodes in the evenings. Had no camera issues, no internet issues, nothing. Then we started doing it at during the daytime. Of course, we're here Saturday morning early. 12:01 actually is when these are done and come out on Saturday mornings. But anyway, we have done some in the afternoons, 2 to 5, and something always gets in the system there. Don't know what it is, but so we'll hope it doesn't today. Okay, I sense that we're boring people that are listening because they don't really care about all this. So we're going to move into a little quick front porch visit and try not to bore anybody with that. I thought it would be interesting to talk about dumb things that you did. HD suggested we put an age limit on it. I thought that was a wonderful idea. 14 or under. 14's a little dangerous, but it's Three Preachers. How much trouble could they possibly get me into? So we'll see what happens. Anybody that's ready to start, let's just talk about dumb things we might have done as young men or boys. And it looks like Kuntz, not Kunzi, but Kuntz is.
Yeah, don't get those mixed up. Yeah, Kuntz.
That doesn't work correctly.
No. A lot of the pre-14 age years are blurry. I don't have a lot of memories. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I do remember, when we moved out into the rural part of the county as a kid, the area that we moved is a lot of people that were very well off. So we'd ride around in the neighborhood, bikes and things like that. And all the guys around us, they had these really nice dirt bikes, with front and rear brakes, and pegs on the front and on the back. And they could do tricks and spin handlebars and all that kind of stuff. And well, I didn't have anything like that. I just had a very cheap dirt bike that was very heavy. But I wanted to try to do what the other guys were doing. So they're out on the street, and they would, mash the front brake so that the back end of the bike would kind of flip up, and you'd be bouncing on your front tire. I didn't have a front brake, so what I learned to do.
I knew that was coming because he said the other guys had front and rear brakes.
Yeah, there you go.
I heard that.
I didn't pick that up. Good
Yeah, good one, Neil. So what I figured out to do, I could just take my foot and jam it up there in between the front fork and
and
the
fenders?
wheel.
Oh no!
And well, that would be an automatic stop.
Yes.
And that happened a couple of times before I learned that
Right.
that's not good.
Did you go completely over?
No, but it sure did tear up my big toe. It hurt a lot.
So,
It looked good once or twice.
the loose title of the front porch visit today was "Dumb Things That We Did," and that one
That was pretty dumb.
That's dumb,
Yeah, it is.
but it's. I'm glad you told it because it's. Okay, so
You're welcome.
The bar has been
I
set
know,
pretty
right?
high.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty high.
So I grew up on the farm, and I was kind of an only child for a while because I'm 7 years older than my sister. And so by the time she came along, she wasn't fun to play with for a while. She was just a little kid. So I did a lot of stuff by myself, and you had to be real just, ingenious back then. We didn't have PlayStation and all that. So, I remember going outside and collecting walnuts and deciding it would be a good idea to throw them up like baseballs and try to hit them. Well, yeah, I knocked out a couple of windows and got in trouble for that. And then Dad had bought a brand new, I think they were called Aaron's lawnmower.
Yes.
He was real proud of that. It's probably the first brand new lawnmower. It was a yard tractor, So it had the hitch on the back and everything. We had no rackety trailer that went behind it. Well, I thought it'd be a great idea to take his brand new yard tractor and go down to the creek and fill that up with some creek gravel to take up to my clubhouse so that my path to my clubhouse would have this nice gravel entrance into it. Well, my clubhouse was down the hill, and I decided, like any good, construction person, I'm going to back down, let the back of the gate open and pull forward and spread the gravel. I saw my dad do that with his tractor and stuff.
Right.
So I start backing this Aaron's lawnmower down the hill with this load of gravel. It starts pulling me down the hill, guys. I'm looking back and I'm steering, and I'm like, all of a sudden I got this bright idea. Maybe if I put it forward, it'll give me some traction.
Yep.
Well, it just made me go faster because now the wheels are full of mud and they're spinning. And I hit something, and the whole thing of gravel just spun around, and it split the back end of this Aaron's tractor. So then I had to get all that undone and take it back to the shop. And I remember being the rest of the day out there trying to beat all the dents out of that thing and fix
Fixing
it.
your dad's new tractor.
And when he got home, it was not.
And this was last week? I missed the first part of this.
Exactly.
How old were you?
I was probably about 12. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad your backing skills have gotten better since we
Yeah,
just took
I
the
know,
boat out.
right?
It's like you
Right.
did well the other day.
Yeah.
I think that classifies as dumb.
It was dumb. Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
I think I could get away with saying
Yeah.
that was dumb. Boy, just the feeling though of knowing you've just done that to your dad's
yeah.
new tractor, that would be kind of devastating.
Yeah.
Which is why you still
I had a
remember that.
lawnmower.
I guess.
I had a lawnmower issues because, you remember when your dad used to make you mow, and you're like, oh, your goal was just to get it done fast. I don't
Yeah.
care what the yard looks like, just want to get it done fast.
Right.
Dad had just gotten a brand new car, and he parked it.
Oh, I
he
see
parked
this
it
coming.
out,
Yeah.
and I'm flying, and I come around and I hit a rock, and it was like slow motion, Foop, and that thing goes zoom, 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 right in the driver's door. Right, and left just a big nice hickey on that door, and Dad just dropped his head and walked in because he's probably about ready to kill me. So
We did that with push mowers. I
yeah,
didn't have a riding mower when I was growing up. Grandparents had push mowers. But in fairness, if you you might sling a rock into their car or their window, but you're also slung a lot into your own feet and ankles.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you
so,
did.
yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, get it done quick. Okay, 2 dumb ones right in a row.
Wow.
This is turned out even better than I thought.
Right?
Do you want the vehicle story or the animal story?
Oh,
You got an animal in the vehicle story?
oh no, that's coming later.
Not yet.
So you just choose. I mean, you have
We could be consistent because we had 2 vehicles.
Oh, we did. Well, I'm not going to go
Yeah.
with vehicle. So
Okay, I'll go with pets. So
okay.
I've always tried to be affectionate with cats.
Tried being the key word.
I had a cat one time, and she was a sweet thing. I trained her how to fetch. I mean, she
Really?
was, yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment. If you
Name
trained
was-
a cat to do
She
that.
was named Miss Kitty
Uh-huh.
for Gunsmoke. And, but way back before that, I was an only child.
Mhm.
And so there was a cat in the neighborhood that belonged to somebody that didn't live in our house. It was somebody a couple houses over. And it had grabbed a hold of my leg and scratched me. So I was 8 years old. And I got a hold of the cat and I put it in the mailbox.
Well, of course.
And I don't know what I thought. I mean,
Was this you trying to be affectionate with cats?
No.
He
The
didn't
cat-
say that,
The
did
cat
he?
expressed its opinion
Oh, yeah.
He said
before I
so.
had a chance to. I was
always
trying.
try
I was
be
going to pet
affectionate
it, but
toward cats.
so put it in the mailbox, closed the door on it, and it was the person's that was their mailbox. And
It was
so
their cat and their mailbox.
yes, and it was in front of
I'm
their
sorry, I don't-
house too. All the mailboxes were in front of that house. So I went home and the lady had watched that happen, and she'd already called my mom.
But she watched instead of stopping.
Yes.
So
So she left her
watched you
cat in
do
the
it.
mailbox. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good
Yes.
neighbor right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now in Arkansas, we would have put a bottle rocket in there with the cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I wish somebody had inspired me to do that.
yeah,
again.
yeah. We didn't do smoke bombs. You could do a smoke bomb, but that's pretty cruel. But now a bottle rocket, it's over with pretty quick for you, not the cat.
So
I mean, the cat. Can you imagine the cat in the first
PTSD.
15 seconds when it first goes off?
we were talking about this before, bringing just for fun's sake,
Yes.
and that cats don't show up in the Bible until after the fall.
Yeah, and I didn't know that.
Well, the story about it is God's got Adam naming the animals, and
Right.
God brings them out, and Adam names them one at a time, and they're having good conversation. And
Right.
God gets to the last animal that he created,
Uh-huh.
and Adam goes, "Okay, what is that?" And the animal came out, sat down in front of him, and his tail was wagging.
Yeah.
And God goes, "What are you going to name that?" And Adam thinks about it, and he said, "I think I'll name it Dog." And God said, "I like that. That's my name backward." And all of a sudden, another animal runs in front of the dog. And Adam goes, "What's that?" And God says, "That's not one of mine." And Adam goes, "Cat?" Okay, sorry.
That's good.
Well,
I'm just going to say that's good.
based in truth.
Cat's not in the Bible, is it? Is cat in the Bible?
I don't know.
That
a
sounds
good
like
in
a
and
good
outy
in
question.
you're out.
There's a good, oh yeah.
Interesting. Somebody,
let's circle back to
Steve's
that.
writing this
I'll
down.
put
No,
that
he's
in
looking
our
it up.
notes.
He's looking it up. Well, now we can't. If you're looking it up, we can't.
No, I'm gonna put it in our notes, and then we can just
Oh,
ponder
okay.
it.
That's a good idea. Interesting.
Mm.
Okay, so when my brother and I were young, we got into lots of stuff, roaming around those Arkansas hills. Had to have something to do, We couldn't just go to town. Town was 4 or 5 miles away. It was a long bicycle ride, even longer walk. But I recall one day out on the front porch, for some reason, we took a shotgun shell. It was probably a 12 gauge shotgun shell, and decided that it would be nice to know what's inside that. So we took it to the front porch, went over to one corner of we had a concrete front porch, and I just remember us sitting on the edge of that concrete porch and had a pocket knife or something. I remember us cutting the casing off of that, moved the packing and all that, got the shot out of it and looked at them, and we did not dig gunpowder out of it or anything. We got the packing and the shot out of it, plastic casing off of it. And then we thought we would take apart the actual shell. So we turned it over and took a nail. I say we because I'm the one that actually did this part, but put it on the concrete porch, took the nail, put it in the firing pin, right in the middle, not understanding completely at this age
How that works.
how that worked. And I took a hammer and I hit that nail, and it just split my thumb open when it blew up. And it was now that was dumb, and I will admit it, that was dumb.
We will
You might win
concur.
the prize on this one. Yeah.
Well, that's I've heard a couple
Yeah,
other good, sticking your foot in the. I mean,
I
that
know,
was,
but this is life. This could be life altering.
It-
Taking a shotgun
it
shell,
could
hit
have
with a
been.
hammer.
Yeah, it could have
Yeah.
been. So anyway, we have several of those, but I'm going to end it there because we had several good dumb things that happened there. It turned out really good. I'm quite happy with it. And I was joking a little bit ago in the green room, and we were trying to decide, if we were going to talk about this or not. And HD had suggested maybe we should put a limit on this, instead of doing dumb things, it were older. But in thinking about that, I was thinking about that while you guys were telling your stories instead of paying attention. That's what I do when HD's preaching. But anyway, I thought, maybe on the next week's program, we'll just move into the dumb things we did when we were older than 14, because I think there's a bucket full of those too. And we'll try in the green rooms between now and next week, we'll try to determine which of those we can talk about on Mike the Baptist and which we wouldn't dare talk about on Mike the Baptist. So,
Sounds good.
all right. So for those of you who are listening fast today, there's you a quick front porch session, and we'll be back in a bit. Talk about some stuff we found in the Bible.
Do you listen to or watch Mike the Baptist? Do you wear clothes? If so, we've got some great news. T-shirts and hoodies are now available at MikeTheBaptist.com. Just visit MikeTheBaptist.com, click on the merchandise link, and you'll find high-quality tees, hoodies, and even onesies for the babies in a variety of colors, all with the Mike the Baptist logo and familiar sayings from the program. Mike the Baptist is a true labor of love. No one has to pay to listen or watch the program, but Mike and the crew have to eat. So a portion of each sale of a t-shirt or hoodie goes to Mike's local Kroger, Walmart, or electric utility. It's kind of simple like that. In order to keep the program free, we have to generate a bit of income to pay the bills. When you make a purchase, you're not only doing the world a favor by wearing clothes, you're helping keep the messages of Mike the Baptist on the air. Thanks for helping out, and thanks so much for being involved in spreading the good news. What a great planet.
Hey, we're back. Later in today's program, I don't know if you listened, I think it was August 27th, we sampled some Nutter Butter, peanut butter, bacon smoked things that a friend of ours had made, and we reviewed them. And during that review, we got to discussing how wonderful it'd be if other people that made interesting food products would send them to us, and we would, out of the kindness of our hearts, review those items for anyone listening. And we just thought it was a great idea, and Glenda Steele's name came up. She's a lady that we all know from the town we live in here, and she has a reputation for making things, cinnamon rolls being one of the top things on the list. So we kind of ranted about that a little bit ago. Well, lo and behold, this week, Glenda Steele gets in touch with me and says, I have something for you boys. So we have a tray of Glenda Steele cinnamon rolls that after any are outie today and before we do our final serious hymn to end the program, we're going to sample those cinnamon rolls and give a review right here. I'm excited. I think I had one of those years and years ago, but I can't remember it. That's, you get years on you, everything's new.
So you're saying, once again, the preaching or the teaching or the Bible is standing between us and food, just like on a Sunday morning.
It is, yes.
Interesting.
Just like on a Sunday morning, exactly. So y'all
Do we
should be
give-
very
do we give
familiar
a
with
thumbs
this.
up or a thumbs down on this review, or make it more spiritual? Be like amen or oh me.
Oh, no, because, that reminds me.
Oh,
I've been
the buzzer.
too, yeah, there we go.
So
I've
we're
been too easy
We're
on
not
the
too
buzzer.
spiritual around here.
Nah,
Okay.
we're not going to get too spiritual.
Gotcha.
You have to remind me. I think at some point I'm going to get everybody a buzzer, because I get involved in these conversations sometimes and I forget to buzz somebody. And then, but spiritual's okay. Just don't get into that spiritual voice. You know that voice that some church people use?
Well,
Yes. Oh. You know what I'm
that
talking
happens
about,
to
don't
old people.
What?
Old ladies will spiritualize everything. Like, bless God, I went to the Walmart today, and this lady, she opened the door for me. She was my angel sent from my heavenly Father. And you're just like, okay, a lady opened the door for you. Let's just take it as a nice thing and move on. Wow.
That is kind of correct.
Yeah.
On a side note, I'm working on a list of. I've been observing people from the back of church sanctuaries during music. Neil,
Yeah.
you'll be happy about this. Oh, I forgot. You guys are over
So
there.
you're
too.
not participating?
I participate mentally. I don't usually.
That's
But-
okay because there are a lot of people that don't.
Well, look, but there are a lot of are, and this is my point. I'm developing a list of the different types of swayers,
Mm-hmm.
movers, because I've noticed there are certain people that do certain things. Some, have a sway out of time, back and forth. Some of them have the 1 foot to the other foot bounce. I'm developing a list, and you're going to be thrilled when I get this
Nice.
list because I've got 6 or 7 of them,
Ooh.
and
You need,
it's
to go,
highly
you need to go
entertaining.
YouTube Tim Hawkins, hand raisers in the church.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Well, I need to call him about this.
yeah, you got some new material for him.
Unless, I'll try to make a buck before
Well,
I
yeah.
send it over to him and then
Absolutely.
turn it over. But anyway, hey, we're going to turn it over to you guys to talk about some stuff we found in the Bible.
All right, yeah. So this week, one of the things I'm thinking about comes from the book of Philippians. Philippians 2:8 says that, talking about Jesus, says that he humbled himself, becoming obedient to the point of death, even the death of a cross or on a cross. So when I think about that, humility, being humble, and I think about our Lord and Savior, the Son of God, Jesus, who came into this world, knowing what he was going to do for us, and he was willing to humble himself to such a point that not only would he take upon himself the penalty for my sins and the sins of man, but he would do it in such a way that he would take a death that was really reserved for the worst of the worst people, dying on a cross, crucifixion, knowing he hadn't done anything wrong, but he was willing to allow that to be done to him, or to take that. Humility, and I struggle with that. He displayed great humility and was humble, but it's like sometimes I don't want to do things that, every once in a while I think I shouldn't have to do that. And why is that? Why am I not being more like Jesus? Why am I not willing to just say, I'm a nothing, I'm a nobody, and whatever needs to be done, I just need to do stuff. Jesus was so humble, and he would go and talk to people that sometimes we might just want to shun. People that we think they've just done something that's so horribly wrong, which it's true. All sin is horribly wrong, but Jesus would go to people that we would just be despised to be around, maybe. And it's kind of a gut check when you come to that scripture and you think about where he was at, what he did, what happened to him, and why won't I do more? Why can't I do more? I don't know. Anything about that scripture kind of strike y'all? The humility, the humbleness, how we kind of portray ourselves, and what we do or don't do.
Yeah. I think, especially when you look at our culture, and it's really about me. It's not about the culture, but in our culture, it helps feed our ego. There's a word that's used now, entitled, and entitlement is really the opposite of humility. Paul talks about in there that he was willing to step out of glory, and then he came to humble himself to be a man, but then he was willing to humble himself even further to die on the cross for sins that he didn't commit. But we're so entitled, and I think about my own humility or lack thereof. The only things I want to point out are the things that I think I've done where I look to be humble. But even in those things, they're really not that humble, because now you're wanting to be
Yeah, I'm making a thing of
praised.
that.
You want to be praised for it. And
Right.
so humility is that, that idea where, like you said, that I'm nothing, my time is nothing, my education is nothing, and we talk about in our church staff a lot, we talk about don't ask somebody else to do a job you're not willing to do, being a team player and all that stuff. But humility is hard because it really means to think about others and to put yourself beneath them. And that's really difficult to do, I think, in our flesh.
Mhm.
Don't you think that's the opposition of human nature is opposed
Mm-hmm.
to humility? It's just the natural kind of, and I assume that's a result of, get ready to push your button,
Okay, I'm ready.
the fall.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, just for kicks.
Just because he asked for it.
Just he didn't ask for it.
I didn't hear it though. But go ahead.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
just
Yeah.
think that that's natural in people, and then I keep remembering that C.S. Lewis explanation of people being one of two things: you are either God and others centered, or you are self-centered. And you start seeing that. I was oblivious to that, and then I read it, and all of a sudden I start sensing every time there's something happening, you can see what the core of a person's motivation is for that. Humility's very, very difficult.
Yeah. And it's so easy for us to get sucked into that me-centeredness, just driving down the road. I am upset because you are holding me up. You're not doing the speed limit. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
It's all about me. And hopefully my wife isn't listening to this one because she will preach this at me the next time we go for a drive.
Yeah.
But I just get so bent out of shape.
I have a question. Do you think folks that are involved in the church scene and trying to be Christians and all, you think sometimes they, or we, I guess that's us too, you think sometimes we think humility and humble and all that is all kind of the same thing, and that we do that to the point of letting people walk over us in situations where that's really not what we should be doing at all? Because, I'm thinking about when we're using the word humility, in established church circles, you know what that means. And since we're talking about Christ here, we obviously know he humbled himself, the ultimate. But I'm wondering if sometimes we cross a little bit of definition in there sometimes, and we think we're being humble and a good Christian person, while at the same time we're letting something happen that we really shouldn't. Am I making any sense there?
Yeah, I think there's a false humility where we're trying to be something because we think it looks a certain way, or we think we're supposed to be. Because you're right. I mean, the Bible talks about be angry and sin not. And there's some things in this world that we as Christians should be mad about.
Yeah,
Somebody mistreats a child, we should be really ticked off about that. Yeah. And we shouldn't have to humble ourselves and go, well, we don't want to say anything, or we don't want to do anything. But the whole idea about humility is this idea of who are you following? Who's in charge? Because it goes back to that, am I self-centered, which means I'm going to do what I want to do, which is the beginning of the fall, Satan wanting to be worshiped. He didn't want to follow God. He wanted to be followed. And that's where you have to get to with humility, is like there's nothing wrong with when Neil gets up there to play and lead on Sunday morning. He should do his best.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't get up there and go, well, let me pluck out a few bad notes so y'all will know how bad I really am.
How humble I am.
Yeah, how humble I really am. But at the same time, he shouldn't get up there going, I want everybody to look at me, look at me.
Right.
So I think there's a false humility that sometimes people in the church carry.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy either.
Yeah, I don't think, I hate to bring it up in a way, but actually I don't. The abortion topic, I have a lot of friends, I can get a little political. I have very definite political views. I try not to bring any of that into these conversations because it doesn't fit. I don't think the abortion thing is a political thing.
Mm-mm.
But I see Christian people that I know remain really silent in situations where I feel like they should be doing just the opposite, but I know what's in their head. They're thinking I'm being a good Christian here and I'm not stirring anything up. I'm being humble.
Right.
I believe that's, personally, I may be crossing up where y'all were heading with this, but I just believe that's not the same kind of humility we're talking about. Like Christ humbled himself before God. So in my mind, if I take that same concept and apply it to how I feel about abortion, I'm vehemently against that in the situations where it's obviously wrong, because I humble my mind to what God thinks about that, and I don't believe he's in agreement with that. So anyway,
Well, you know,
that may have opened it up too wide there, but
James 4:17, therefore to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, that's sin, right? So if we know something, the Bible tells us something is sin, and we don't call it out as sin,
right.
I think I'm sinning, as I'm not sharing the truth with somebody. So I have a responsibility to share truth, as long as it's what God's word says.
you do, and I guess here's where the humility comes into play, the way you present what you're saying.
Yeah, time and place does play into that, and
okay.
our attitude in it.
I'm glad we had this talk. So you can do both and not over humble yourself to the point of being trampled, which I'll just throw out there is happening in our society. So
Well, Jesus never agreed with sin.
Right.
Never, in any circumstance.
Right.
He never told the Pharisees that what they were doing was good. He didn't tell the woman at the well what she was doing was good. He never told the rich young ruler that what he was doing was okay. But he also didn't carry around a poster board and scream at them from the opposite side of the fence.
right.
He went to them in humility to meet them where they were, love on them where they were, but give them truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's where sometimes we as Christians and the church in general fails. We swing from the side of everybody come in the door, you're all welcome, and whatever you're doing is fine and okay because God made you that way and God loves you, to the other extreme where we stand on the edge of the porch and go, you get back in your car and leave because you're not welcome here.
Yep.
There's a balance, and I'll be honest with you, as a pastor,
It's tough.
that's a scary
Yeah.
thing. I mean, there have been moments when I've had to call people and go, I don't know what to do with this. This is a situation that I don't know what to. There is nowhere in the Bible that talks about boys getting a shotgun shell and hitting it with a nail and almost blowing
Right.
themselves up, and how I should respond to that.
Right.
So there are judgment calls, and there's things that you have to think through. But to me, the church fails when we just sugarcoat everything or we try to blow everything up. We've got to somehow,
There's a balance in
in
there.
our
That's right.
humility,
Yeah.
and I think this is part of my humility. Your sin is no greater than my sin.
Mhm.
Even if I want to look at your life and go, well, dang, Jackson, if you quit doing this, 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 and this, no wonder you're down and out. No wonder you're homeless. No wonder and you're not. But I'm just saying,
Right.
we can look at those people and say, well, no wonder you've gotten what you deserved. Well, if I got what I deserved, then I wouldn't be on my way home.
We're all in the same boat.
So we
Right
have
there.
to humble ourselves and go, yep, what this person's doing is wrong, but what I was doing is wrong. Now I've got to come meet them, put my arm around them, and help them get better because God's helping me to get better. And but you're right. There's a false humility that the church takes on sometimes. We want to look pious. We want to look like we've got our lives together. Nothing thrills me any more than to see people really come to the altar and fall down and cry.
Mhm.
Not come share every detail about their life to the pastor, not make a big order, but just humble themselves and realize, wow, God, you're pretty cool because you've forgiven me for this, and I've been a real jerk.
That's humility too, right
That's
there.
that's where it starts.
Are we anywhere close to where you started?
I think we are. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. It's all humility.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah, we started with humility.
You had a point you were talking about, and
I think we've gone there.
We danced all around it.
Yeah,
my
kind
first
of
one did, yeah.
It kind of stepped into that area of, although I don't think we really talked about what it costs. What does
That's good.
humility cost?
Yeah.
Because that's a I don't even know how to describe the depth of recognizing. I just think it's recognizing God as the center of all things, and living your life that way rather than how do I please everybody around me, or how do I make myself look good, because we're not supposed to look like what our society thinks. I don't know if it's any different now than it's been, 50 years ago or whatever.
Right.
But if we're following and acting like Jesus, which is what we're supposed to be doing, there's a fellow that teaches, his name's Ray Vanderlaan, and he said we're supposed to follow our rabbi so close that we're covered in his dust. So what does that look like, and what does that cost us to do that? So that's an important consideration, really.
And we typically think about, that means that we can't go out and get drunk, or we can't move in with our girlfriend because it's going to cost us all this fun that we're going to have. And that's part of, obviously, the spiritual journey that God has us on, because he wants better things for us. But think about the cost of your calendar, the cost of your checkbook, the cost of relationships. I mean, are we really so committed to God that we're willing to put friendships on the line to tell them about what God's done in our life with the chance of being rejected? Are we willing to look foolish for God? I remember a guy one time telling me, Jesus was willing to hang naked on a cross, literally. I mean, a lot of the pictures have him covered in some kind of loincloth, but that would have, in that day, been considered almost naked. I mean, men did not go out like that. And so he hung there in his shame. What are you willing to do for him? And sometimes it's like, I don't even want to tell my neighbors I go to church because I don't want them to think I'm weird, and we have a good relationship and I don't want to mess that up. But humility does cost you something. Being a disciple costs you something. Jesus said, count the cost, because it's not free.
So why would you want to do this if it's going to be costly? If I were not already doing this, we're hearing you guys talk about how great this is to do this. What's the benefit to me of doing it? Why would you want to do that? I mean, what if I like my lifestyle like it is, and I don't want to change this or that, and be all
your lifestyle like it is limited time wise? You think about past that?
Well, I don't understand that because I don't wear a watch, so you got to come up with something.
He lives in the moment.
Neither does God.
Oh, that's pretty good right there. No, I'm just trying to think.
Yeah.
Here again, I'm bringing it back to folks that don't use words like this all the time in their conversation. What's the benefit of me suddenly becoming all humble and all that just because God would want me to do it?
I think part of that is we want others to have what we have. And if whatever it takes for that to happen, humility, if it means getting, gallons of Gatorade dumped on your head, or getting painted, to get kids excited and, build some enthusiasm and stuff around the neighborhood or whatever, what does it take? Be willing to just let whatever happen to me so that somebody else might be able to experience God and might be able to have a relationship like what I have.
That's a good definition for that. I like how you said that. Yeah.
I couldn't repeat it, so I'm glad we recorded it.
Yes, we'll play it back to you.
Thank you.
You can write it down in case you need to use it.
I might put it in my
So
book.
they're really wise. Mike, I think too, one of the things, I think all of us, I like to go to the zoo, and I like to see a giraffe, and I like to see, some of those, I don't know why Neil hates cats, but, there's some big cats out there, and you like to see them, and when they actually do something, like you see them run or you see something climb a tree, you're just like, wow. And the thought goes through your head, what if they were out in the wild? Because they're limited in their cage, so we can enjoy them. I guess what I would say to people that are listening is that Christianity lets you out of the cage to actually be what you were created to be. And, this stuff that the world offers to us is really nothing more than a prison it sounds like it's freedom. I remember that day that, I graduated high school and some buddies of mine, we went down to Panama City Beach, and I think I even remember screaming out at the beach, I'm 18 and I'm a man and I'm free and I'm going to do what I want to do. But what I found is that everything I wanted to do really became a cage. And when you surrender, when you humble yourself to look to God and go, yeah, I'm dumb. Not only did I do dumb stuff, 14 and under, man, I've done a lot of dumb stuff, and everything that I did that was dumb, yeah, it helped make me me. That some people say, oh, it's part of the story. It made me me. But all that stuff ends. The you that you're making, one day nobody will remember who the crap you were.
Yep.
And no, they won't care. But when we have this relationship with God, yeah, we have to humble ourselves, and it costs us something. But at the same time, it gives us so much more than what it cost. I mean, we'd all be fools if somebody walked in the door right now and said, everybody that will give me $1, I'll write you a check for $1 million. Well, we'd be like, oh, I got $50. What do you give me? Let me invest a little to get a whole lot. And the Christian life there's a cost to it, but I promise you, anything that you give up, it comes back to you 1,000-fold.
It does.
And then you become the person that you are. I'll pick on you a little bit.
That's okay. I'm used to it. Go for it.
Well, Mike, you've got a lot of talents, and we've been friends for a while. And I've seen that you're an artist that can draw, you can write music, you can play music, but you had all this stuff here at your house that you can use for any medium you wanted to use it, and you felt like God wanted you to use it in this medium, and that to me just kind of shows what happens. Because the original question is, why would I want to do this? And the reason you want to follow God is He is your creator, and only He knows what you are created to be. And so life doesn't really make sense. I think the whole world's out there trying to make sense of their life, and some of them think they know because they've got a little money in their pocket, or they're famous, or they're good looking, or they've got this person on their arm or that person. But at the end of the day, if you go back and just watch our celebrities and those folks, I mean, they're miserable.
They're not happy
They're
people.
miserable. And to be...
Hey, I'll witness right here just real quick. I can do a lot of things. I'm aware of that. It's not anything I did,
Right.
and I've been aware of that for a long time, too. I don't know where that came from. It's not in my family anywhere else. It's just there, so it obviously came from God. That's the only explanation for it. But before I was saved, at around 1997, I had no satisfaction in those things. Excuse me. I would do them. It would be fun. But then immediately, I had to have something else. Immediately. It's almost as if when I was saved, literally within days, God planted me in a church. Like literally within days. I wasn't looking for one, wasn't searching for one, but lo and behold, I wound up at one. In the 20-something years I've been there, I've been able to use every kind of ability that He gave me for good reasons that are very satisfying, very fulfilling, and the feedback I get lets me know that it's what I need to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no qualms. I love doing what we're doing here. I believe it's right and appropriate. It fits what I do. Obviously, it fits what y'all are doing. These have been great conversations. So it all works together, I think, in a correct way. And if, I don't like the old phrase, I'll buzz myself before I say it. If one person comes to follow Christ and do this with his life because of anything we've said, then we've done our job. Well, I'll buzz myself again because I think there's thousands that we need to tell this to.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one, and I won't be satisfied with one.
Right.
I think there's more.
All of that really comes back to where we started with Michael, talking about what is humility, what does it cost us. Then it's this reality that humility really is about following God's direction and leading in our life. And when we do that, the satisfaction that we get from that. In that Philippians passage, it talks about not only how Christ humbled himself to come down in the form of a slave, but willing to die on the cross, but then it talks about how God exalted him above every other name, and that at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that he is Lord. And so, one of the things that we have to think about as Christians is, okay, where am I struggling to humble myself? Where am I struggling to say yes to his direction in my life, and quit fighting him on it? I think that's a lot of Christians' frustration in following Christ, is that they kind of surrender, but they don't fully surrender. And, I'll just say about my own life, I didn't really want to be a preacher. I really did not.
No, you did not. I remember talking to you about this.
Yeah, and I really thought I had it figured out where I could do my business and make money, keep one foot in the world, and then I'd be glad to teach Sunday school. I'd be glad to be a chairman of deacons. I'd be glad to help the church. But I was going to make money and do my thing, and then God could use my gifts when he wanted to in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
And when all that started coming, kind of pushing me to the edge where I couldn't say no anymore. I remember driving to Nashville one day, and I was just screaming at God. I really wasn't mad, but I was just screaming at God. Like, whatever. But I'm a big dummy, and you're going to have to give me a sign, a big sign. And lo and behold, that's what he sent me. But and it's still not easy sometimes, But when you submit to him, surrender yourself to him, humble yourself to him, he'll direct you, but you'll still struggle with it. I struggle with it.
Well, you're still you.
Yeah,
I
still struggle.
It's interesting because you're the last personality on earth I would suspect would become a preacher.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not the most passionate guy, I'm a compassionate guy in the world.
Right. But anyway, I think that's, what do you guys, where do you struggle with submitting?
Yeah.
How does that trip you up?
Well, my story's a little bit the same. Coming into the ministry was the last thing on my list of things I wanted to do. High school, senior year, God started calling me to the ministry, and I was like, nope, that's not my plan. My plan is I'm going to be an art teacher. So I graduate high school, go into college, going through art education, degree and stuff like that. And, during that sophomore year is when I didn't get mad, but it was the night that I was there in my house and I was on my knees, and I was praying. And I told God, it's like, all right, this is yours, referring to me, it's all yours. And if ministry is what you want me to do, that's where I'm going. Of course, that same night prayed the same night about asking a girl out on a date, and that ends up being my wife a couple of years later. Lay it all out there, and it's not been easy. But
wait a minute, you don't need to say that right after the wife.
Yes,
you clean that up just a little bit.
I'm sure we're going to edit that right out of this.
Oh no, I'm going to leave it in there, but I think you need to clean it up real quick.
Lucy has a rebuttal for that.
That's right. Yeah, she'll have something to talk about on the
you
next
just had a
episode.
comma in the wrong place right there.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for clarifying that.
That's all that was.
But, and even once I was in the ministry, for over a decade, God was changing my direction in the ministry. And I fought that. I fought that for 2 years about becoming the pastor. I was like, I didn't want to be the pastor of the church, but that's what he wanted. And that is still a problem today, letting go of what do I want to do.
Well, it's hard to do.
It is. It's like when I plan. I like to make plans. I like to plan out my year. I'll plan out, when I was pastoring, I'd plan out a sermon series and different series, usually, 52 weeks in advance. I'd know a general idea where I was going to go. Vacations, when I was going to go on vacation, I'd be asking people to fill in for me 9 months in advance, when I was going to be out of the pulpit. I like to make plans, but God has a sense of humor, and he likes to change my plans, when I don't think they should be changed. And it's like, I got to let it go. Let God be God.
I don't think Neil I don't think you planned on being where you are either, did you? I think you and I talked about this a time or two. That you wound up.
He was a keyboardist for Leonard Skinner.
Really?
That's an in-your-outy.
There's an in-your-outy for you. Was Neil a keyboardist
good.
for
Yeah.
Heatwave? I believe you were a keyboardist for.
That
For
was
those of
one
you that
them.
might not
Yeah.
know about Neil's disco history, I love disco. By the way, I'm not ashamed of it. But you didn't plan on being
I did not.
a music minister. I'm going to buzz that. I don't even like the way that sounds. Music minister. Buzz it. But you didn't plan on being that, did
No.
you?
No, I find it ironic that people go to school to do that. That's
You do?
that's their major. No, I didn't. No.
Well, probably a long time ago they didn't go to school to do that.
Well,
That's
they're-
probably
it's a popular thing now, especially in this area, to do that. No, as a matter of fact, when we moved here and we're looking for a place to be part of a church, there's so many options here, like way too many, seems like, but we looked everywhere. We finally settled on a place, and I made my wife promise that she wouldn't tell anybody what I did for a living because I didn't want to do that on the weekends. I do it all week long.
right.
All I wanted to do was I'd lead a small group or do a Bible study or something like that because I like to dig in. But I made her promise, and it was, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. We invited the senior pastor over for lunch. And then we're eating lunch, and he goes, "Say, I heard you used to play with," and he named several of the artists. And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "Would you ever consider filling in?"
Oops.
That's where that started.
Yeah. He saw your high-heeled disco shoes.
I don't know what he
He
said.
opened a closet door over there or
I
something.
never had any of those, but thank you. Yeah.
I do have one question. Did Heatwave make you have an afro while you were playing with them? It's just
no. I could
okay.
tell you things, but no.
No, you don't have to.
I had a lot more hair, though.
So, yep. So now it wasn't what you wanted to do, is basically
Mm-mm.
what you were saying.
No, but
But here you are.
it was, and what's really cool is God frequently does not show us way ahead at all. He'll just say, just take your step. And when I started doing that, it was funny because I could look back and see how I had been prepared
Mm-hmm.
to do that. Because it's not there's there's this thing that people think you have to be a certain way to do certain things, and the way I always thought I was not what I needed to be, and I kind of walked there. There's personality profile tests you've heard of. They tell you what your tendencies are and whether you're left brain or right brain dominant and those kind of things. People tend to have a more pragmatic view, or they have an artistic view of things. And the way I was created is I kind of walk down the center of that. And if I were not walking down the center of that, I would go nuts doing what I do. Because you have to work with people that are way far one dominant brain side or the other.
Yeah.
So that's, and God,
Or no brain centered.
or no brain centered.
HT said that. Neil didn't. Just
Yeah,
for
I
the
didn't
record.
I was talking about myself, by the way.
Gotcha. Good cleanup there too. It's the cleanup episode. Humility.
It will humble you.
Humility will humble you. Well, it's interesting. It's just interesting the way things work out. And but Neil, you said something interesting. Not to beleaguer. Is that a word? I use the word beleaguer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a word?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
We've got a yes and a no, and Kuntz is grinning like a possum over there.
I'm not sure that I'm hearing the word
Beleaguer.
correctly.
Well,
Beleaguer,
I find myself-
beleaguered.
I
Beleaguered.
almost think it's not a word, but I find myself using it all the time.
If there's a
I don't
D
wanna-
on the end of it, I'm pretty sure it's a word.
I don't
Yes,
want
it
to
is.
beleaguer the point. And I'm thinking it means drag on. Actually, no, I know it's not a real word, but I use it all the time. I'm smarter than that. I know I am.
Let's ask Google, huh?
The Google. Neil's going to ask the Google.
I'll do that while you're
about if
Talking
that's a
about that.
word, beleaguer.
It
and
is. Beleaguered with the D on the end of it.
beleaguered.
Yeah, it is.
So it is a word.
Yeah.
Does
With
it
a D.
mean to
Yes,
drag
that's
on?
what I was
or
saying. If it
delay?
had a D on it, it's a word.
How did you know that?
I don't know.
And why did you know that?
I don't know.
Okay, so the definitions
what does
on
the Google
here
say?
says, hang on a second, sorry.
Oh, maybe it's because I say beleaguered instead of beleaguered. It sounds more like a
Suffering.
word.
Suffering or being subjected to constant or repeated trouble or harassment.
So that's absolutely not what I thought it was. First
No,
of
but
all,
it's
I
what you
didn't
do to
I
others.
didn't think it was a real
I'm
word.
trying to think of the word. There is a word that sounds like that, but it's not beleaguered. It's,
Beleaguered. I don't want to. What's the word? Okay, Koontz.
Where's Ricardo?
What did you say? Would he know?
Oh, he always knows.
Can we call him?
Can we
Phone a
call
friend.
him? Call him
Phone a
up
friend.
and ask him if he knows what beleaguered means. No. We were looking for a word that
Sounds like beleaguered.
Say the sentence you want to say
Well,
without the word in it.
I don't want to. What I was trying to say is I don't want to drag.
Linger,
I don't want to linger.
languish.
Belanguish?
No.
There's something.
Languish is just kind of
I don't want
There's a lot of
to.
editing going on.
stewing
there.
in it.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I
We
think
haven't
I'll
even got
leave
the
this
in or
because
outie yet.
Yeah,
we
still
kind of are in a way, but. Okay, hey, look, we'll look this up later on the Google and maybe even the Wikipedia because you can always trust Wikipedia. I'm just saying. But we're going to take a quick break and we're coming back to play Any or Outie. And we're going to really rush through Any and Outie because after Any and Outie, we're going to try out Glenda Steele cinnamon rolls. I'm so excited and I'm already sleepy just thinking about it. So, but anyway, we'll be back.
Do you listen to or watch Mike the Baptist? Do you wear clothes? If so, we've got some great news. T-shirts and hoodies are now available at MikeTheBaptist.com. Just visit MikeTheBaptist.com, click on the merchandise link, and you'll find high-quality tees, hoodies, and even onesies for the babies in a variety of colors, all with the Mike the Baptist logo and familiar sayings from the program. Mike the Baptist is a true labor of love. No one has to pay to listen or watch the program, but Mike and the crew have to eat. So a portion of each sale of a t-shirt or hoodie goes to Mike's local Kroger, Walmart, or electric utility. It's kind of simple like that. In order to keep the program free, we have to generate a bit of income to pay the bills. When you make a purchase, you're not only doing the world a favor by wearing clothes, you're helping keep the messages of Mike the Baptist on the air. Thanks for helping out, and thanks so much for being involved in spreading the good news. What a great planet.
Hey everybody, it's time to play America's almost favoriteest new game show, Any or Outie, where we challenge our guests to figure out if a phrase we give them is actually in the Bible or out of the Bible. Sharpen your wits, guest. You're about to be in the hot seat of Bible stuff, because you're the next contestant on Any or Outie. Here's Mike.
What a great day for Any or Outie. Let me just tell you what I have discovered. Any day is a great day for Any or Outie because Any or Outie is catching on with a lot of people and in a lot of ways. I find it fascinating because I myself, when the thought occurred to me, which I don't know where these things come from, I'm as surprised as you are when something like that hits the head and it comes out. But this one is really fun because I didn't have any idea there were so many of these things that people just say all the time. Because to be honest with you, I struggled at first. I knew the idea was going to be fun, but then I got to Googling myself and I thought, well, there's only 10 of these. We're going to run out of these. But no. Turns out there's all kinds of wild, crazy things in that Bible.
Or is it?
Or is it?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I'll put something there. And a drum hit thing. Anyway, today's In or Outie, Koontz and I will be the questioners, and the other three who aren't questioners at that moment will be the contestants. So let her rip, Koontz. Koontz is up first.
All right. So I believe when we started Any or Outie, we were going with phrases that we hear, and is that in or out of the Bible? So this is a phrase, the root of the matter. The root of the matter. The root of the matter. Any or Outie?
The root.
The root of the matter.
Okay, I have a gut reaction to it, but I want to make sure we converse it. And my track record is not good on my own. So usually when I defer to the other two, we get it right. But
The root of
the root of the matter. My gut reaction is that's not exactly that phrase. It's not exactly in there.
It sounds like a good agricultural statement.
The root of the matter.
but I don't know that it's a biblical.
Well, you went straight for the basics on that, didn't you? The root.
I mean, you got the root of all evil. That's, you know,
But now
Root of all
that
kinds of
phrase is
evil.
in there, isn't it?
root of all kinds.
The root of all kinds of evil.
But that phrase is in there, the word root,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that phrase,
Mm-hmm.
the root of the matter. To me, the root of the matter sounds more like conversation, modern day
Mm-hmm.
conversation. That's just a gut reaction.
What's the Hebrew word for root?
What? Let's
Are you,
call
are you going
Ricardi.
to phone
Yeah.
a friend?
Yeah, phone a friend. Now that
Rooteth.
so we're out. I mean, I think we're all kind of stumped. on this.
I hate to be wrong on my own program, but wait, you were wrong on it, so
Yeah.
okay.
Are you assuming that you're wrong?
I am, because I have been before. But no, I think it's an Audi. Personally, I think it's an Audi. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'd go with Audi.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We have 3 Audis. That's the final answer, Audi.
Job 19:28.
Oh, no.
But ye should say, what persecute we him, seeing the root of the matter is found in me?
Well, there you go.
Are you reading from the
Wait a minute.
James's?
The king of the
The King
James.
James. Is this the first 3-person wrong answer? A unanimous 3-person
I
wrong
think
answer?
it is.
I think this may be a day in history
I think so.
for any or Audi.
We need a special graphic for that.
We
Who's,
do. Yeah, there's a hell on the forehead.
Instead of the family
Ow.
feud, we'll just have the.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's
that
good.
really was a good one.
Mm.
Thanks for making us look dumber. This whole program's been about stupidity. So,
Yeah, and
you know,
it's worked pretty
We've
good.
showed ourselves.
It's worked pretty well so far.
Thanks for inviting me.
Score, as they say now. Is the Holy Grail in the Bible? That's my complete question. The Holy Grail.
No.
The Holy Grail is Indiana Jones. That's not in the Bible.
And it's also Monty Python.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you all are
So it's
getting there
entertainment.
way too quick.
The
Yeah.
airspeed of an African swallow.
The what?
The airspeed of an African swallow.
What about it?
That's from the
Python.
Holy Grail.
Oh, I didn't watch this particular movie.
Okay,
Holy Grail.
before you give your final answer, which I know you're sitting on the edge of your vocal box right now, ready to spit it out. See, I don't know where that thought came from either. Why would anybody think that?
Beleaguer.
Beleaguer. I don't want to beleaguer the thing, but
Don't languish us either.
so if the word holy wasn't there,
Grail?
hmm
Is Grail in the Bible?
I mean, what if I just asked that?
You can't change your question.
We're talking about the cup, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the cup of Christ.
Is that in the Bible?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the cup that he used to share with the disciples,
Last Supper.
there
Yeah.
would have been a cup. He probably didn't own it. He didn't take it with him,
But he mentioned it.
but he says, "This is my cup. Take and drink." Yeah.
Is there other mentions of it anywhere that you know of, or?
Of the Holy Grail or the cup?
Cup of Christ.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
It's
Yeah.
come from me, right?
I think actually the cup could have been a bowl in the original. I think that's just Wikipedia. No, not exactly. Okay, let's go back to the Holy Grail.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with entertainment. Indiana Jones, Monty Python, not in the Bible.
We went from a 3-person failure to a 3-person success. That is not in there,
Way to go, team.
but you all know it. But I want to read this. I just found it interesting, just having a little bit. The Holy Grail, supposedly the cup or dish that Christ used at the Last Supper, that was later used by Joseph of Arimathea to catch Christ's blood as he hung on the cross.
Mm.
It's mythical, not accepted as true by any church, the Grail. Stories about it were written mainly between 1170 AD and 1240 AD. Most are in French, although some English and German. And I did read several poets use that phrase down through the years, changed it a little bit. They're all a part of the legends of King Arthur. It's supposed to have miraculous properties. People have to be spiritually mature to take part, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But now this is a great comment I found from somebody. I didn't know who wrote it, but I thought he was dead on. While the mythical stories of a Holy Grail make for interesting reading and exciting movies, they should not be of great concern for true Christians. True Christians. As born-again believers in Christ, our hope is not in some vessel that might have held Christ's blood or might have been used by him at the Last Supper. Our hope and assurance are in his sinless life, his atonement on the cross, his resurrection from the dead, and his promise of eternal life to all who believe in him. Christians do not need to look to a priest who traces his authority back to Christ by apostolic succession when we have the authority of the Word of God and direct access to the only mediator between man and God, Jesus Christ.
Good stuff.
Interesting. So you all knew the answer. I did too, but I just thought mainly Monty Python. But you do hear about the Holy Grail, and then you watch Indiana Jones.
Right.
And if you don't know exactly, you start wondering, hey, man, I think it's out there somewhere. We got to find it. At which point, I guess you get sidetracked, don't you? Congratulations. I was on a losing end of an Any or Outie today, and then I didn't win. So, but
There's
it's
always
all,
next week.
It's all in humility that I accept what
Wrap
happens.
that back around.
Thank you so much. Cinnamon roll review coming right up.
Oh, wow. What a great contestant and a fine sport today on Any or Outie, America's almost favorite new game show. Study up, future guest people. You're next in the hot seat for Any or Outie.
Do you listen to or watch Mike the Baptist? Do you wear clothes? If so, we've got some great news. T-shirts and hoodies are now available at MikeTheBaptist.com. Just visit MikeTheBaptist.com, click on the merchandise link, and you'll find high-quality tees, hoodies, and even onesies for the babies in a variety of colors, all with the Mike the Baptist logo and familiar sayings from the program. Mike the Baptist is a true labor of love. No one has to pay to listen or watch the program, but Mike and the crew have to eat. So a portion of each sale of a t-shirt or hoodie goes to Mike's local Kroger, Walmart, or electric utility. It's kind of simple like that. In order to keep the program free, we have to generate a bit of income to pay the bills. When you make a purchase, you're not only doing the world a favor by wearing clothes, you're helping keep the messages of Mike the Baptist on the air. Thanks for helping out, and thanks so much for being involved in spreading the good news. What a great planet.
What an exciting time to be alive and a participant on Mike the Baptist, because we have with us today a sampling of a friend of mine, all of ours actually. We all know her. Her name's Glenda Steele. And yada, yada. She makes cinnamon rolls. We've heard about it forever. They're famous and all that. And so we guilt-tripped her on a Mike the Baptist program and tricked her into making us some, and she did. And we have them here. Let's see if I can get a shot in on the camera here. This is, well, that's odd. It's getting two shots and makes it look like one. Anyway, here's Glenda's cinnamon rolls. We have microwaved them a little bit, and now I'm going to, not being terribly full of humility at this moment, I'm going to take the first one, pass it on. We're going to each get one, and we're going to taste them, and we're going to review these. And now, this is a Christian show. You guys are all preachers, et cetera, and so we have to be brutally honest. If these taste like dung, we're going to say it. Dung. If they're good, we're going to say it. Let's review. This probably sounds terrible if you're only listening to the audio podcast, but okay, let me say that I'm getting some yeast, a little bit of yeast bread, and some cinnamon and sugar in there.
Does anybody else taste the orange?
Mm-hmm.
I do taste a hint of orange.
I did too.
Do you think that's like Glenda's secret weapon?
Maybe.
There's a hint of something in there. But now listen, Glenda also snuck me a loaf of her homemade bread too, along with this package of yeast rolls, and I've been gnawing on that while I've been waiting on this program to review these, and I taste a hint of that dough in these cinnamon rolls. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, long, long ago. I was wrong once. I could be wrong here, but let me taste it again and see if I can. Boy, I wish all of you were here.
Would there be cinnamon rolls in heaven?
On trees.
I think you're right, H.
Rivers of coffee.
I think she snuck a little orange peel. Let me put my glasses on. I think she snuck a little something in there somewhere. Kind of a little hidden gem.
That's what I was thinking. I needed a second one to really understand what I'm consuming here.
Well, my review is I think they're great. That's my review. I did not properly warm them. I really microwave zapped them a little bit. She gave me instructions how you can microwave zap them, but her instructions said microwave 2 of them for 10 seconds, and I had about 8 of them for I don't know how many seconds because
We ate them all, so they must have been pretty good.
I think they're okay. I suspect
Keep
if
up
you
the good
put them in
work,
the oven,
Linda.
like she said, for 10 minutes at 300 or whatever she said to put them on, that they would be just primo. Which I have another tray of these
Plus, I mean,
that y'all don't know about, which I will be trying at home later in the oven. So
y'all know this. A lot of you know this family. I can't believe they don't weigh like 500 pounds a piece. I mean,
I
my
was just going to
goodness.
say her husband.
Yeah,
How does
they're
he
both
not?
little bitty people, you know.
I gotta say that's really good. I saw Glenda day before yesterday, and I said, we're going to give you a review on Mike the Baptist of these, just right out there in front of everybody, and you could probably sell these. She said, nope, I don't want to sell them. Why not? She said, because if I take money for them, that gives you the right to criticize them.
There you
I
go.
thought, that's brilliant. So I'm not going to criticize them.
I'm going to be willing to let her give those to me anytime she wants to. If she doesn't want to sell them,
Out of the kindness of your heart and your
I will
humility.
humble myself and be on the receiving end of her generosity anytime.
Well, talk amongst yourselves though for just a second. Let me finish mine.
I'm also willing to allow you to criticize me because I'm not going to preach for free. I'll just have the criticism.
Well, Oh, while I'm finishing this last bite, you all might want to invite others if they would like a review of their cooked goods and products. We'd be happy to do
I mean,
it.
we like smoked meats. Some good fried chicken,
Banana bread.
banana bread. Yeah,
Yes, we know.
Allison,
Very good banana
Allison
bread out there.
Manners listening. We'd like to review that. A good chocolate pie. Oh,
That would be
chocolate
good.
pie.
Oh,
Or
listen.
lemon icebox pie.
If I can get some of my friends in Arkansas to mail us out some chocolate rolls, y'all are in for
I've heard about these chocolate rolls.
yeah. But you're only going to be able to tape one program because you'll be asleep after
Gotcha.
half a chocolate roll.
It's a good thing we're heading home after this. Huh?
Yep.
Yep, but you'll be back next week, so you
Yes,
got a
that's
week
right.
to sleep it off.
So I think, thank you, Glenda. That was,
Thanks, Glenda.
That was
Those were
heavenly.
really good, and we appreciate
You
your
know, I think we
willingness
should
to.
serenade her with a hymn just to thank her.
Today's hymn is just for her because Glenda is a prayer warrior. She's known to be a prayer warrior. I asked her the other day, I said, hey, Glenda, I've had this great idea to have some prayer warrior women on Mike the Baptist. And she just kind of looked at me with a really blank look on her face. And I was thinking, maybe I need to think through how to do that a little bit more. I think it caught her a little bit off guard, but
So she can just sit here the whole program with her eyes shut.
yeah, I guess that would work. But oh, now we got to snort out a coons. We got 3 snorts today.
It's a 3-snort program.
Hey, listen, thanks for being with us. I just spit a piece of cinnamon roll on my
Keep
computer.
it for later.
Oh, I'm hanging on to that.
Please forgive us for what we do.
Thanks for sticking with us this long. I know that, well, Glenda's nosy, so she would have stayed this long on the program to hear all this, but I hope you did too, and I hope you'll come back the next time. We're going to close in Mike the Baptist tradition, as always. I'm getting serious now at this portion with a hymn in the tradition of the church. Today's hymn, it is for Glenda because she's a prayer warrior, but it's also for everybody else that grew up with great hymns of the 70s and 80s. This actually might have slipped into the 80s a little bit, but like we said before, church hymns change over time. You know, it's not all yak horns and cow skin stretched over barrels and stuff. Church music changes. Hymns have changed. So this may be a little out of the ordinary from the normal 70s hymns, but we're going to do it for you anyway, and we'll see you next time. Neil, you're our leader since you have more musical knowledge than all of us combined.
Well, I'm just going to start on the third line because I don't know the language of the other two lines.
You know what? I'm folding mine
It's like
over and I'm joining
Aramaic
you
or
right
something.
there. But start low because
So
it's
this
got a
song is about prayer.
yeah.
Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer.
Whoa,
We're halfway there.
whoa,
Living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer.
Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa,
Living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer. That probably sounds as good as Bon Jovi does now.
Yeah, bless his heart, as they say in the South. See you next time. We just Christians.
Trying not to cuss.
Good luck.
Mike the Baptist.